Le Mans, one of the pinnacles of racing. 24 hours of torture for man and machine alike. A race that can immortalize drivers and cars. But what would that look like as a racing game? No, not you! Welcome to the Emotion Engine Enduro, where we're on a mission to play every PlayStation 2 racing game. My name is Kaz, and this is Le Mans 24 Hour. Le Mans 24 Hour is a 2001 release on the PlayStation 2. It is an upgraded port of a Dreamcast game called Test Drive Le Mans, developed by Melborne House and published by Infograms before changing their name to Atari. There was also a PlayStation 1 version developed by Technics, but that is a vastly different game. So many racing series have video games made after them, but just a singular race is another story. Le Mans is such a grueling and historic race that it kind of actually makes sense to have its own game. So I'm actually going to start with the appropriately named Le Mans mode, where the developers absolutely cooked. After we select the Le Mans mode in the main menu, we're greeted with two options, Le Mans 2000 and Petit Le Mans. Le Mans 2000 does consist of, well, the 2000 Le Mans, which is in France and has a field based on the real-life cars that ran that year. Petit Le Mans is a 10-hour race held in Road Atlanta that was created by IMSA. This race led to the creation of the American Le Mans Series, or ALMS. We now call that the IMSA Sports Car Championship. Petit Le Mans was also new for the PlayStation 2 version, as it was absent on the original Dreamcast release. Okay, so these two races are special, but why do they have their own unique mode? Well, that's because this game allows you to run both of them at full length. Yes, 24-hour at Le Mans and 10-hour at Petit Le Mans. And this is not a gimmick, because there's not only a full day night cycle, tire wear, fuel consumption, even an active and random weather system, along with animated pit cycles that were new for the PS2 version of the game. These are all features we begged to have in a track racer, but Melbourne House did it in 2001, creating an incredibly authentic endurance racing experience. Now you already may be thinking, oh, these features are cool, but hold up, Cass, a 24-hour race is awesome, but I don't want to leave my PS2 on for days to finish this like we did in Gran Turismo 4. Fortunately, Melbourne House actually came up with two solutions for that. After starting your full-length Le Mans race, the game will actually let you save during a pit stop, and you can reload it later. This will allow you to take as long as you need to finish while being able to turn the console off. The second solution is accelerated time, with options for 10 minutes, 24, and 240. This doesn't just mean the race ends earlier, but time transition actually speeds up and letting you experience everything in a shorter period of time. 10 minutes may not have fuel usage or tire wear, but 24 and 240 do, and it's accelerated, so you still have to think about pit strategy. Condensing Le Mans into a bite-sized package is something I did find super fun. It lets you experience all the hype with not really any of the commitment. Funny enough, in 2008, when Grid by Codemasters was released, it would take a similar approach where it would have a condensed, shortened version of Le Mans.
24 hours of Le Mans.
However, I do find this one is better because they didn't even have any weather, tire wear, or fuel usage. Le Mans and Road Atlanta for Petit Le Mans are not the only tracks in the game, however. There is a larger selection for Quick Race, Championship, and Time Trial. You have the Bugatti circuit, which is part of the Le Mans circuit, Bruno, Road Atlanta Short, Suzuka, Donington, and Catalunya, giving you more playtime than just doing the endurance racing. These add a nice bit of flavor because all of these tracks are pretty important to the history of sports car racing. Throughout the selection of events is a wonderful selection of cars. Every event except the 2000 Le Mans uses a selection that seems like it's based on the 1999 IMSA grid, but with some omissions and some changes due to licensing, featuring open-top and closed-top LMPs and GTS cars. There's also some that are unlicensed like the McLaren F1 and the Callaway Corvette, but they did change the models just enough to still include them. For the 2000 Le Mans, well, the cars are based on the 2000 Le Mans. Now, one weird decision I did want to point out first was in prototypes, there's only an open prototype class. Now, for the year 2000, there was an LMP 900 class and an LMP 675 class. Both these classes are featured in the game, but they're just smushed together and they race together. So if you don't know about this and you unknowingly pick an LMP 675 car, you're gonna be quite a bit slower than the AI's cars are. It does appear that all the prototype cars are here, however, from the terrible Cadillac to the front engine Panos, even to the absolutely dominant Audi R8. You do have them all available. LMGT class is also represented. Represented? What the hell am I even saying? I love this class because they're all based on road legal sports cars as opposed to being pure racing prototypes. I also love the C5R Corvette This car is absolutely fantastic. It's my favorite one in the game. There's also one oddity I do want to point out. Porsches in this class are based on the 993 GT2, but they should have been based on the 996 GT3R that ran in real life. This is probably due to licensing issues because EEA had exclusivity rights for Porsche for a long time, but I'm glad they at least filled the field. If you end up winning first overall at Le Mans, you actually unlock a set of historic Group C cars as well. These are big powered monsters from a bygone era, just something you would never see today. Having classic race cars in licensed track racers is something we once again beg for. And adding little things like this really makes it seem like Melborne House were a bunch of racing nerds that really cared about the game they were creating. Last thing I needed to talk about are the physics in the game. If we had the designation Simgate in 2001, this is probably where the game would fall, leaning a bit more towards the arcade side. You do have quite a bit of grip, and you can get away with eating curbs and touching grass pretty frequently. Forgiving would probably be the accurate descriptor for the handling model. If you do decide to turn the assists off, however, it does push it a little bit more towards being a sim, having to learn how to brake without ABS and brake in a straight line, also not being able to just full throttle out of a corner without just spinning it out. It'll challenge you much more once the assists are off. I do find the precision you need to be fast with the assist off a little tough on a DualShock 2, however. Using the right stick as throttle and brake is kind of a necessity. Once I thought about it for a minute and realized the Dreamcast has analog triggers, it did all kind of make sense. You can get your precision if you do play the original version on Dreamcast, so just little word of warning, use that right stick if you do decide to try it with assist off. Le Mans 24 Hour has one big problem. It's a simple fact, I think this game is just overlooked quite often. Not only do I think this is a better endurance racing sim than games like Gran Turismo have ever been, or even Grid tried to, but I think it's one of the greatest endurance racing games ever brought to console. Le Mans 24 Hour gets an 82 out of 100. I am going to ding it a touch for missing some cars and some licenses, and I don't think it's a very pretty game for the PlayStation 2. This, however, is one of the greatest endurance racing titles ever made, especially on the PlayStation 2. It not only does a fantastic job at presenting all the trials and tribulations of the 24-hour Le Mans, but it puts it into a fun and approachable package, and preserves the history of the 2000 race. I think this is a must-play if you love endurance racing. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Le Mans 24 Hour goes into the second spot currently, right below ATV Off-Road Fury 4. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode, as well as when we stream these games, which we also do over at twitch.tv/COisNOTpog. Join me next week for another viewer donation reward as we play another Melbourne House game with Grand Prix Challenge.